Hello. All right. So this is our fourth recipe that we're making with the Amish starter, the bread starter. So we made the cookies, the other cookies, and the biscuits. This might actually get shown before any of those. I don't really, but you know what's coming, so that's good. All right. So this is cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls, it's an overnight for the start. So you do 2 cups of flour, a cup of milk, at least 2%. That's what we've got because it's what I've been having to use to feed the starter. And then 1 cup of starter. I don't know where my little spatula is. There it is. I'm going to need that to scrape stuff out. Then a cup of starter. This is pretty good. 4 whole recipes, each required a whole cup. If you'll remember from the breads we did, they don't always require a whole cup. Sometimes it's just a half. Well, there's a little bit of starter left, definitely not a whole cup, not even quite a half cup. So I'm probably just going to put it in its own little baggie in the freezer and see if there are any tips online for what to do when you've got like maybe a 1/4 cup of starter left. I've got another bag, don't worry, but yeah. All right, so we're just blending this bit real well. And remember, not in metal if it's going to stay in there overnight. Metal's fine for right when you bake it, but otherwise we do in the plastic. Our nice OXO brand. This is easy, and that's nice because we finally caved and got Disney Plus, and we're watching Fantasia. And you know the scene with Mickey and the brooms and the water? It starts off and the guy's just describing, he's like, oh, and this apprentice gets himself into trouble. And my husband's so adorable. He goes, uh-oh. like he's a little kid again. All right, see. Good and blended together. Get it off the whisk. And then we're going to cover it real well. And we're going to leave it 10 to 12 hours. That's why I would do this at night if you want it for breakfast the next day. Because that's the next time he touches is the 10 to 12 hour mark. At least 10. It looks like no more than 12 according to everything I'm reading on the recipe. Alright, everything. Now I'm just going to kind of scrape it down. Yeah. Alright. And you cover it and you leave it at room temperature overnight. So obviously we're going to need to do more covering. I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at room temperature, and in the morning I'm going to finish up. See y'all then. Hi, good morning. We are back. It's been right around the 11-hour mark. What we're going to do is put together our very bright light on you guys. There we go. I will turn that back on in a minute. We're going to do what's going to go on them after we roll them out, just so that it's ready. It's a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So we know 3 tablespoons equals 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So I'll just do that so it'll fit. Alright. So that way it's just ready for us when we need it. I want to spread it out. Just combine it well. The main cinnamony part of our cinnamon rolls. These are going to taste so good when they're done in a little while. By a little while, I mean about an hour. But that's okay. And yes, if you hear in the background any kind of noise like shouting or fighting, my Shawnee was already up and so anxious to watch more of the Disney Plus stuff with the Avengers. He's so silly. Although I like them too, so. Alright, so we just wanted that well combined. So we got the cinnamon sugariness and all of it. Alright, so we're just going to set this to the side so we need it. Give me one sec to get something. Alright, so it's set for 11 hours. We're just going to give it one quick stir. We're going to need this for the thickness with everything else we're adding in. So I got to angle you guys so I can also read my instructions. Alright, so we're going to do 3 tablespoons of sugar in there. And it doesn't say to like in between, it just says add in all other ingredients. 2, 3. Alright, so there's our sugar. One egg. Excuse me. 1 stick of butter. Don't worry, we'll wind up using a whole other stick for a couple other things. Plenty of butter, and it's been softened. Let it sit out for a little while. We got up this morning, making our anticipation and our hunger all the more. Then we've got salt, baking soda, baking powder. All right, 1 teaspoon of salt. That was the wrong thing to do. Discard. Alright, a teaspoon of baking powder, and then half a teaspoon of baking soda. Alright, so now we're going to blend that all up. Dough. Didn't appear that it was supposed to, because we're going to knead it on flour and add in more flour that way. So give me a sec to get that set up. Alright, y'all missed a little bit. You'll notice my hair is much whiter dropped the flour, thought the seal was tight on the lid. It was not, and it flew everywhere. I've had to wash my face and flush out my eyes, and I'll wash my hair after this. My poor husband had to stop watching his movie to come help vacuum up some of the flour that was all over the floor. All right, back to this. So here is floured surface. Don't worry, none of this is off of me or the floor. Baking. The fun we have. Alright, so what it said to do is that I'm going to pour all this onto a well-floured surface, and then I'm going to knead it. I'm going to wind up adding in more flour this way, which I believe, because it definitely needs more flour to be dough. I'm going to need to use the scraper. Probably going to need more flour than I already have. Alright, do the scraper, and we're going to get that flour. I don't know why we wouldn't add more flour in the bowl. We're going to try following the instructions. First go around and just see and pray. And it works. So I didn't wind up with a bunch of flour on me for nothing. So yeah, okay, so we're getting more dough-like now. So the flour from below it is not there. Well, some of it's there. I need to add some more. Give me a sec. Yeah, I definitely should have gone with my gut and just done another couple cups of flour in there, but you never know till you're doing it, and then now I'm just a sticky mess with my hands and an over-floured head. It's still super sticky. Give me a sec. Sorry, guys. There we go. This is more of the dough-like that we're aiming for much earlier on. So yeah, I'd almost wait till you get it adding flour in the bowl until you get it to this before you take it out of the bowl. Will be a tip I add in for the future. Now I'm going to have to almost clean the surface before I can, well, maybe I can do it without having to clean it until I'm done. It's all just so sticky to my hands. There we go. More and more of it to come off. So I can make sure the dough is how it needs to be so I can roll it out and do the rest. It's a learning process, guys. It's a learning process. At least if I make the mistakes, you know what to do before you attempt it at home. Yippee. Okay. So see, even when we don't quite understand the process at the start, we can get there with time. Some of this dough back in there. Have all the cinnamon rolls we want. By George, if I have given my eyes and my hair for it today, I want all the cinnamon rolls I can possibly get out of this. Okay. Just give me 1 second to wash my hands. Do the next bit. Make sure it all gets out on there if it can. Okay, sorry guys. Alright guys, just getting it rolled in there. So now I'll try to keep the rectangular shape for the rolling to be easier. Just get you guys back so we don't have any more gaps while making these symbols. Not that we haven't had them with other things too. Just part of the fun with cooking with Kaitlin. Alright. Getting them pretty evenly on the thickness. Because it got a little wonky. Be able to roll it just a little flatter on this end. There we go. Stand it just a bit. Just this bit that's been, that way it's kind of pinching it together. Good. Do that just to help. Now there's still a few kind of gap areas, but it's pretty even now, so that's good. So we can move on to the next bit. This ready. About half a stick of butter we're going to spread all over. It's been softened too. I'm going to kind of do like this to just kind of help get it where it needs to be all over this before we pour that cinnamon brown sugar mixture kind of on it. Possibly a better knife to use for this, but I don't. All the rest of mine are pretty sharp, so I would not know for sure. Maybe I'm just going to use my hands. That might actually just be the easiest way to do this. As we see, we want it softened but not melted, they say. I understand that because it'll melt pretty easily. Though I do see some people mix this with the sugar stuff and then spread it all out. I'm wondering if that might have been an easier way to do it. Worth remembering. Right, you kind of leave about like an inches edge at one of them for when you seal it. Or maybe that's not the brown sugar mixture. It's one of the two. Yeah. Go. Kind of getting it. Okay. Yeah, that's ultimately what we want, is just that butter to be all over the place. From what I hear in the other room, the Avengers are kicking some serious booty. So go Avengers. I think it's the brown sugar mixture that's on the edge, and I'm actually realizing I might be rolling that way as opposed to this way. So we'll just consider the brown sugar mixture because the butter will help seal, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. The butter helps seal, moisturize the dough. To look up more tips for how to do this. I've seen them just do it. They're like, oh, they're simple knife. And I'm like, my butter's been out for quite a while. Even longer with the whole flour debacle. So it should, like, it's pretty soft. Much softer than it would just, you know, be melted butter. Again, could understand if we were doing that, but it did not say to, just said softened. Just gonna have to do this way this time. And it's just me and my hubby eating them anyway. And after all that washing with the flour, my hands are very, very clean. tbsp would approve. There we go, little COVID joke. All right. There we go. Butter, butter everywhere. Yum. Yum. All right. Now we're going to get our mixture. Alrighty. So we got it all there, all over. Now we're going to start to roll it all together now. Nice tight roll. All the things said to do. A good tight roll. Then at that edge, kind of make sure. Okay. All right, grab the pans, bone grease, and we're gonna put them in there. And I think we let them rest for a little bit of time, which will let me do some cleanup. And we bake them. Alright, so we're doing that. Looking so good. Although won't be rising much. Let me set them over here so you have them out while I'm on the heat. Yep, okay, we're letting them rest for 30 minutes, so we'll be back in half an hour. Alright, so we've done some cleanup. You can see I've even kind of washed the hair just a bit because it was getting to me. Just a little bit of time left on the cinnamon rolls to rise up, but we're going to get the frosting ready for them. So it's just when we pull them out and they've cooled off just a little bit, 'cause I still like them fairly warm when just pour that frosting, just let it melt. Alright, so we've got 2 ounces of cream cheese already in there. That other half a stick of softened butter's going in there. I have a cup of powdered sugar. Frosting, it's pretty much always a guarantee. And then we've got 1 tablespoon of milk. We're just going to keep it with 2% because that's what we're already using. That's actually just all I got for us this week, since we were doing so many recipes with the starter. Alright, and then Sean will just finish this off the rest of the video. Alright, and then, of course, a little bit of vanilla. We'll have tablespoons. Alright, we're going to use our hand mixer again. Perfect. All right. We put those in the oven in a couple minutes. All right, so these are going in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes. You will take them out, let them cool for a few, and then frost them. See you guys then. All right, take them out of the oven. Check and see that they are done. Ooh, they look it to me. Look good and done. And they feel good and done. All right. Turn our oven off. Yes, I have fully showered and changed because I had flour all over. I just had to do what I could to kind of get through the rest with you guys. Then I was like, all right, I've got to clean while these are in the oven for half an hour. All right. So, going down there. Just a few, the ones that were kind of on the edges had a little excess flour on them. I guess I could have wiped off sooner, but they'll be fine. We've got our frosting. I know you should let them cool for a few minutes. I just kind of like getting the frosting right on there, though. Always been one of those. Just start slathering it on. Kind of dollop it equally at first and then see kind of where your knead is after you make sure they've all got some. That was nice. It made 10 cinnamon rolls. I know 8 are kind of more the size we're thinking. 2 are kind of those edge ones. That's okay. Kind of enough for 2 to start with. Okay, I'm going to wind up having to get the scraper to get all that out. So give me a sec. Now we'll kind of spread. We made all this delicious frosting. We need to use all our delicious frosting. Just getting myself stickier in the process. Yep, so that's good, and we'll get this stuff all out. Kind of when they're all connected, you can just kind of spread them between each other as needed too. There's a little bit left in there, so we're going to figure out where our real knead is after getting them all better. Get the icing to look more like it's actually ice, not just glopped down there, which is how you start, of course. Yes. But it does feel nice to not have flour all over me. But I hope it gave you all a much needed laugh. That's what we do sometimes for each other. Like, well, it wasn't my shiningest moment. Wasn't the one that showed me to be the smartest person I ever could be with the flour and not checking how I needed to. But it gave my viewers a much needed laugh. By viewers, of course, I mean friends and family. Then why not? Yum-alish. These smell so good. I cannot wait to eat them. So many yummy goodies from all our starter recipes. Right. So let's kind of see where we are for the frosting. Although there is a lot left, there is a little bit left. Put just a little bit there, there. Not quite that much over here, here. All right. Aren't they just looking delicious? I think so. All right, guys. Ooh, hot underneath. We're just going to do one. Bon appetit. Have a good one.